Good afternoon, baseball fans. Big Al here on this Friday, August 11th, 2023. And it's time for another MLB standings check as we'll take a look at the updated standings in baseball and the playoff races through Thursday. We'll recap all the games in baseball from the past 4 days and we'll look ahead to this weekend. So without further ado, let's jump right in to the early week recap of games in Major League Baseball, starting with the Monday schedule. The Dodgers beat the Padres 13-7 in the finale of that 4-game series. Gonsolin is the winning pitcher for the Dodgers, 7-4. Lugo takes the loss for San Diego, 4-6. The Twins routed the Tigers 9-3. Lopez, the winner for Minnesota, 7-6. Wentz takes the loss for Detroit, 2-10. It was the Reds over the Marlins, 5-2 in a big series in the National League wildcard race. Williamson wins for Cincinnati, he's 4-2. Perez takes the loss for Miami, 5-4. Diaz with his 33rd save. It was the Pirates edging out the Braves, 7-6. Metazinski wins for Pittsburgh. He's 2-2. Strider takes the loss for Atlanta. He drops to 12-4. Bednar with his 23rd save. It was the Blue Jays over the Guardians 3-1. Swanson beats De Los Santos. Swanson is now 3-2 for Toronto. De Los Santos is 4-2 for Cleveland. Hicks gets his 10th save for the Blue Jays. It was the Red Sox over the Royals 6-2. Boston closer Kylie Jansen picks up the win for the Red Sox in relief. He's now 3-5. Hernandez takes the loss for Kansas City, drops to 1-7. It was the Mets blowing out the Cubs 11-2. Senga wins for New York. He's 8-6. Smiley takes the loss for the Cubs, 8-8. It was the White Sox beating the Yankees 5-1. Dylan Cease wins for Chicago. He's 5-5. The loss goes to Garrett Cole, 10-3. Shaw with his first save. The Brewers annihilated the Rockies, 12-1. Peralta wins for Milwaukee, 8-8. Lambert takes the loss, 2-3. Giants beat down the Angels, 8-3. Rogers wins for San Francisco, 6-4. Estevez takes the loss for the Angels, 5-3. And it was the Rangers beating the A's, 5-3. Spores wins for Texas, 5-4. Jimenez takes the loss for Oakland, 0-1. And Smith gets his 21st save for the Rangers. The Nationals-Phillies game was postponed due to the weather in Philadelphia on Monday. Now let's jump to the Tuesday scoreboard. And the Nationals and Phillies, the Nationals and Phillies played a doubleheader. Game 1 was the game that was originally scheduled for Monday, in which the Phillies won 8-4. Wheeler wins. He's now 9-5. Williams takes the loss for the Nets. He's now 5-7. The Tigers shut out the Twins 6-0. Rodriguez wins 8-5. Sonny Gray takes the loss for Minnesota, 5-5. Marlins edge out the Reds 3-2. Garrett wins for Miami, 6-3. Sims takes the loss for Cincinnati, 3-3. Robertson with save number 16. Rays double up the Cardinals, 4-2. Adam is the winner for Tampa Bay, 3-2. Mikolas takes the loss for St. Louis, 6-8. Fairbanks with his 15th save. Astros get past the Orioles 7-6. Stanek wins for Houston 3-1. Bautista loses for Baltimore 6-2. Presley with save number 27. Braves outlasted the Pirates 8-6. Yates wins. He's now 6-0. Bednar loses for Pittsburgh 3-2. Iglesias with his 21st save. It was the Guardians shutting out the Blue Jays 1-0. Baby wins for Cleveland 8-2. Kikuchi takes the loss for Toronto, drops to 9-4. Clase with his 30th save. Royals pound the Red Sox 9-3. Singer wins for KC. He's now 8-8. Crawford takes the loss 5-6. It was the Cubs edging out the Mets 3-2. Talion wins for Chicago 7-6. Smith takes the loss for New York. His record dropped to 4-4. Alzole with his 15th save. The Nationals would defeat the Phillies in Game 2 of their doubleheader 5-4. Weems is the winning pitcher for Washington 3-0. Craig Kimbrell takes the loss for Philadelphia 6-3. Finnegan save number 18. Yankees hammer the White Sox 7-1. Schmidt wins for New York 8-6. Toussaint loses for the Chicago White Sox 1-5. Rockies score 4 times in the 10th and beat the Brewers 7-3 in 10. Koch takes the win for Colorado 1-0. Chafin the loss for Milwaukee 2-4. Angels held off the Giants 7-5. New Angel Lucas Giolito wins. He's now 7-8 for the Halos. And Alexander takes the loss for San Francisco 6-2. Leone, his first save. It was the Rangers pounding the A's 6-1. Max Scherzer improves to 11-4 with the win on Tuesday night. Sears takes the loss for Oakland 2-9. Diamondbacks get edged out by the Dodgers 5-4. Urias is the winning pitcher for LA 9-6. That takes the loss for Arizona 0-6. Phillips with his 15th save. And it was the Mariners shutting out the Padres 2-0. Gilbert wins for Seattle 10-5. Barlow takes the loss for San Diego 2-5. Munoz with save number 6. Now to the Wednesday scores. It was the Orioles edging out the Astros 5-4. Kramer wins for Baltimore. His record is 11-4. Brown takes the loss for Houston 8-8. Bautista save number 31. Pirates 2 better than the Braves 7-5. Hatch wins for Pittsburgh 1-0. Elder takes the loss for Atlanta 8-4. Holderman save number 2. Guardians edge out the Blue Jays 4-3. Noah Syndergaard is 2-5 with the victory, and I think this is his first as a Guardian. Alek Manoah takes yet another loss. He's now 3-9, and I just heard that he has just been sent down to AAA Buffalo. It's not been working out for Alek Manoah with the Toronto Blue Jays thus far. Clase gets his 31st save for Cleveland. Tigers blank the Twins 3-0. Olsen wins for Detroit 2-5. Maeda, I should say, loses for Minnesota 3-7. Bresky his second save. Philly 6, Nationals 2. Strom wins for Philly 8-3. Machado takes the loss for Washington 3-1. It was the Cardinals taking down the Rays 5-2. Laboratory wins, goes to 2-4 for St. Louis. Littell takes the loss for Tampa Bay. He's now 2-3. Red Sox shut out the Royals 2-0. Paxton is the main pitcher for Boston 7-3. No losing pitcher announced for Kansas City. Jensen gets his 26th save. And it was the Dodgers over the Rockies 2-1. Yarbrough wins for LA 5-5. Doyle takes the loss for Colorado. Record falls to 2-1. And Graterol, I think that's how you pronounce it, gets save number 5 for the Dodgers. Okay, I skipped over. That was the Thursday scoreboard, so let's back up to Wednesday. So here are Wednesday's finals. It was the Marlins edging out the Reds 5-4. Scott wins for Miami 6-4. Diaz takes the loss for the Reds 3-4. Robertson save number 17. In 10, it was the Brewers walking off the Rockies 7-6. Wilson wins for Milwaukee. He's now 4-0. Lawrence takes the loss for Colorado 3-5. It was the A's shutting out the Rangers 2-0. Tarnock wins for Oakland 1-1. Montgomery loses for Texas 7-10. May with his 12th save. Tigers outlasted the Twins 9-5. Holton wins for Detroit 1-2. Ober loses for Minnesota 6-6. Cisnero his second save of the year. Phillies shut down the Nationals 7-0. And that was the no-hitter by Michael Lorenzen, recently traded from the Tigers. He's now 7-7 combined with the Tigers and Phillies. Gore takes the loss for Washington. He's 6-9. It was the Cardinals 6 and the Rays 4. Hudson wins for St. Louis 3-0. Kelly takes the loss for Tampa 4-2. Gallegos save number 9. Astros hammer the Orioles 8-2. Javier wins for Houston 8-2. Flattery takes the loss for Baltimore 8-7. Braves pass the Pirates 6-5. Johnson wins for Atlanta 2-6. Myozinski loses for Pittsburgh 2-3. Iglesias save number 22. Blue Jays shut out the Guardians 1-0. Gosman wins for Toronto 9-6. Allen takes the loss 5-5. Hicks with his 11th save. It was the Red Sox edging out the Orioles, or rather the Royals, I should say, 4-3. Pavetta wins for Boston 8-6. Lyles takes yet another loss for Kansas City. He's 3-13. Jensen got his 25th save on Wednesday night. He would get his 26th against that same Kansas City team last night. It was the Mets over the Cubs 4-3. Hartwig wins for New York 4-1. Wisniewski loses for Chicago 2-4. Bickford save number 1. White Sox blast the Yankees 9-2. Clevenger wins for Chicago 5-5. Severino, who has not been pitching all that well this year, loses for the Yankees. He's 2-7. Santos save number 3. Angels 4, Giants 1. Shohei Ohtani wins. He's 10-5, and here's some history for you. Shohei Ohtani is the first player in Major League history with 40 home runs and 10 wins in the same year. Never before have we seen that. Even Babe Ruth can't say that. Beck takes the loss for the Giants. He's 3-1. Estevez save number 24. Dodgers shut down the Diamondbacks 2-0. Ferguson wins for the Dodgers 6-3. Nelson loses for Arizona, drops to 5-3. Phillips with save number 16. And it was the Mariners pounding the Padres 6-1. Brash wins for Seattle 8-3. Wilson takes the loss for the Pod Squad. His record drops to 1-1. Okay. Looking ahead to the MLB standings and the playoff picture as we go into Friday's action. We'll start in the American League East. The Baltimore Orioles sit atop the division at 71-44, 7-3 in their last 10 games, including a win in their last game. The Tampa Bay Rays are in second place at 69-48, 3 games out behind the O's, 6-4 their last 10, including 2 straight losses. In third place are the Toronto Blue Jays, 65-52, 7 games out behind Baltimore, 6-4 in their last 10, including a loss in their last game. Fourth place are the Boston Red Sox, 60-55, 11 games out of first, 4-6 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. And back in last place, the New York Yankees, 59-56, 12 games behind the Orioles, 4-6 in their last 10, including a loss in their last game. Over in the American League Central, it's the Minnesota Twins on top at 60-57, 6-4 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses, all to the Tigers. Second place are the Cleveland Guardians, 56-60, 3.5 games out of first place behind Minnesota, 3-7 in their last 10, including a win in their last game. Third place are the Detroit Tigers, 52-63, 7 games out of first place, 5-5 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. In fourth are the Chicago White Sox, 47-69, 12.5 games out of first place, 4-6 in their last 10, including a win in their last game. And the Kansas City Royals sit at the bottom of the Central at 37-80, 23 games behind Minnesota, 5-5 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. And out in the American League West, it's the Texas Rangers at 68-47, 8-2 in their last 10, including a loss in their last game. In second place, the defending champions, the Houston Astros, 66-50, 2.5 games out behind Texas, 7-3 in their last 10, including a loss in their last game. In third place are the red-hot Seattle Mariners, 62-52, now 5.5 games behind the Rangers, 9-1 in their last 10. And did I mention that they're hot? Seattle has won 7 games in a row. Fourth place are the Los Angeles Angels, back at 500 at 58-58, 10.5 games behind the Rangers, 3-7 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight wins. And in last place, the Oakland A's, 33-82, currently baseball's worst record. 35 games behind Texas, 4-6 in their last 10, including a win in their last game. Jumping over to the National League East, you've got the Atlanta Braves with baseball's best record, 72-41, but only 5-5 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. In second place, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies, 64-52, 9.5 games behind Atlanta, 7-3 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. In third place are the Miami Marlins, 60-56, 13.5 games behind the Braves, 3-7 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight wins. In fourth place, the New York Mets, 52-62, 20.5 games behind the Braves. They're also 3-7 in their last 10 games, including a win in their most recent contest. And sitting last are the Washington Nationals, 50-66, 23.5 games behind the Atlanta Braves, 6-4 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. The Milwaukee Brewers continue to lead the National League Central at 62-54, 5-5 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. Next up, you have a virtual tie for second place with the Cincinnati Reds at 60-57 and 2-8 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight losses. And the Chicago Cubs at 59-56, 6-4 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. And both are 2.5 games behind Milwaukee for first in the NL Central. The Pittsburgh Pirates are in fourth place, 52-63, 9.5 games behind Milwaukee. 5-5 in their last 10 games, including a win in their most recent. Fifth place, the St. Louis Cardinals, 51-65, 11 games behind the Brewers. 5-5 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. And out in the National League West, it's starting to become a runaway with the Los Angeles Dodgers holding a 68-46 record, 9-1 in their last 10, and they're probably the hottest team in baseball, not named the Mariners. They've won 5 straight. A very distant second are the San Francisco Giants, 62-53, 6.5 games out behind LA, 5-5 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. And the collapse continues for the third place Arizona Diamondbacks, now under 500 at 57-58, 11.5 games behind the Dodgers. An abysmal 1-9 in their last 10 games, including the longest current losing streak in baseball at 8 in a row. In fourth place and not playing too hot themselves are the San Diego Padres. 55 and 60, 13 and a half games behind the Dodgers. 4 and 6 in their last 10, including 4 straight losses. And in last place, the Colorado Rockies. 45 and 70, 23 and a half games behind LA. They're also 4 and 6 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. All right, taking a look at the playoffs, starting with the American League. By records, Baltimore is the number 1 seed at 74, or rather 71 and 44. Texas is the 2 seed at 68 and 47, and Minnesota is the 3 seed at 60 and 57. As for the National League division leaders, by record it goes Atlanta number 1 at 72 and 41. The Los Angeles Dodgers 2 at 68 and 46. And the Milwaukee Brewers 3 at 62 and 54. Jumping over to the wild card race in the American League. Tampa Bay is still the number 1 wild card at 69 and 48. Houston is number 2 at 66 and 50. Toronto is the 3 at 65 and 52. The hard-charging Seattle Mariners are just a game and a half out at 62 and 52. Boston is 4 games out at 60 and 55. The Yankees are 5 games out, 59 and 56. The Angels 6.5 games out at 58 and 58. Then you've got the Cleveland Guardians, 56 and 60. They are 8.5 games out. Next up is the Detroit Tigers, 52 and 63 and 12 games out. The Chicago White Sox at 47 and 69. They are 17.5 games out. Kansas City is 37 and 80. They're 28 games out. And Oakland is 33 and 82, 31 games out. As far as the National League wild card, Philadelphia is the top team at 64 and 52, followed by the San Francisco Giants at 62 and 53. And in that third spot, the Miami Marlins, 60 and 56. The Cincinnati Reds at 60 and 57 and the Chicago Cubs at 59 and 56 are both only a half game back of Miami for that last wild card spot. Arizona, despite their most recent shortcomings, 1-9 record in 10 games and 8 straight losses, they are only 2.5 games out behind the Marlins for that third wild card. The Padres, who have lost 4 straight, sit at 55 and 60, and they are 4.5 games out. Oh, I did not mention Arizona's record. It was 57 and 58. Sorry about that. The New York Mets at 52 and 62 are 7 games back. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 52 and 63, are 7.5 games back. The St. Louis Cardinals at 9 games out, sitting 51 and 65. Then it's the Washington Nationals at 50 and 66. They are 10 games out. And Colorado at 45 and 70 is 14.5 games out. All right. So that's the So that is the standings and the playoff races through Thursday. As for this weekend, let's take a look at all the series. We'll start off with the New York Yankees at the Miami Marlins from Lone Depot Park in Miami. All right, the series begins tonight at 6:40 Eastern Time with Ian Hamilton as the projected starter for New York and Jesus Luzardo for Miami, a left-hander. So they will play tonight at 6:40 Eastern Time. They will play tomorrow at 4:10 Eastern Time We know that Alcantara will be the starting pitcher for Miami for Saturday. New York has yet to name starting pitcher. And then the series finale on Sunday is at 1:40 Eastern time. That's going to be Garrett Cole versus Yuri Perez. All right. Back up to Friday. We'll look at our next series, which is going to be the Cleveland Guardians at the Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, it looks like Xavier Curry will be the starting pitcher for Cleveland in the series opener. Aaron Savale is the starter for Tampa Bay. Both are right-handed pitchers. Tonight's game from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg is at 6:40. And then on Saturday, they're playing at 4:10 Eastern time. Williams is the projected starter for the Guardians. No pitcher has been named for Saturday's game for Tampa Bay. And the series finale on Sunday, it will be Phoebe for Cleveland, Eflin for Tampa Bay, and that's at 1:40 Eastern time. All right, next up, it's the Oakland A's at the Washington Nationals from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. All right, tonight's pitching matchup, here we go, is Paul Blackburn for Oakland, right-hander, and Johan Adon for Washington, also a right-hander. And the series begins tonight at 7:05 Eastern time. Looking ahead to tomorrow, their game will also start at 7:05 on Saturday with Medina pitching for Oakland and Irving for Washington. And then on Sunday, it's Waldachuk for Oakland and Williams for Washington, and that game is at 1:35 Eastern time on Sunday. All right, next you've got the Minnesota Twins at the Philadelphia Phillies. Tonight's starters in the series opener at 7:05 Eastern time is Dallas Keuchel for the Minnesota Twins and Christopher Sanchez for the Philadelphia Phillies. So it's lefty versus lefty in this one. In game 2 of the series, which is at 6:05 Eastern time tomorrow, it's Lopez versus Walker, as Taijuan Walker shoots for his 14th win of the season on Saturday. And then on Sunday at 1:35 Eastern, it's Gray versus Suarez in the finale. And that series is being played at Citizens Bank Park. All right, the next series we'll look at is the Cincinnati Reds at the Pittsburgh Pirates from PNC Park. Tonight's game starts at 7:05 Eastern time, and it's left-hander Andrew Abbott for Cincinnati versus right-hander Johan Oviedo for the Pirates. And again, tonight's game is at 7:05 Eastern time. On Saturday, Williamson will get the ball for Cincinnati. No starting pitcher has been named for the Pirates at this time. That game starts at 7:05 Eastern time. And in the final game on Sunday at 1:35 p.m. Eastern time, it's Weaver versus Keller. The next series we'll look at is the Chicago Cubs at the Toronto Blue Jays. First game tonight is at 7:07 Eastern time from the Rogers Center. In game 1, the pitching matchup will be Javier Assad for the Cubs and Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays. both of which are right-hand pitchers. All right. In game 2 of the series tomorrow, and that game is going to take place at 3:07 Eastern Time. It will be Justin Steele versus Chris Bassett. So you got a pretty good pitching matchup for the Saturday game. And in the finale on Sunday at 1:37 Eastern, it will be right-hander Jameson Taillon for the Cubs and Hung Jin Ryu, left-hander for Toronto. All right, we're jumping back to the Friday schedule. All right, the next series is the Detroit Tigers at the Boston Red Sox. Game 1 begins tonight at 7:10 Eastern from Fenway Park. And tonight's pitching matchup will be a pair of lefties going at it, as Tariq Skubal will pitch for Detroit against Chris Sale of the Boston Red Sox. So again, it's lefty versus lefty. All right, game 2 of the series on Saturday is at 4:10 Eastern Time, and it will have right-handers Matt Manning for the Tigers and Brian Bello of the Red Sox as the pitching matchup in game number 2. Game number 3, which will be the first of the Sunday games at 12:05 Eastern Time, it will be Eduardo Rodriguez, left-hander for Detroit, against Cutter Crawford. That's Cutter with a K. For the Boston Red Sox, he's a right-hander. All right, back to Friday. Next up, it's the Atlanta Braves at the New York Mets. Tonight's pitching matchup is right-hander Charlie Morton for the Braves and right-hander Taylor McGill for the New York Mets. And tonight's game starts at 7:10 Eastern Time. Game number 2 is at 7:15 Eastern Time, and the starting pitchers for both teams have not been announced. And then the series finale will be on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN at 7:10 Eastern Time. With Yanni Chirinos, right-hander, pitching for Atlanta, and Kodai Senga, another right-hander, pitching for the Mets. And again, that's the Sunday night game on ESPN at 7:10 Eastern Time. All right. The next series is the Battle of Missouri, as the St. Louis Cardinals take the trip west to Kansas City to battle the Royals. All right. Tonight's starting pitchers will be Adam Wainwright for St. Louis, right-hander, and Dylan Coleman for Kansas City, also a right-hander, and that game is at 8:10 Eastern Time. Okay, game 2 of the series takes place at 7:10 Eastern Time, and all 3 games are being played at Kauffman Stadium. The pitching matchup for tomorrow is lefty versus lefty. Steven Matz for the Cardinals and Cole Ragans for the Royals. And in Sunday's series finale, which will be at I guess it's only a 2-game series because I'm not seeing the Cardinals or the Royals. Yeah, the Cardinals Royals series is only 2 games, so they're only playing tonight and tomorrow. Okay, next up, the Los Angeles Angels at the Houston Astros. Tonight's pitching matchup at 8:10 Eastern Time is Reed Detmers for the Angels, left-hander, and Justin Verlander, right-hander, in his second stint with the Astros. Of course, his first stint went pretty well. He won 2 World Series, and I think they say he was a 3-time MVP winner or 3-time MVP, something like that. But I do know that Verlander has 2 World Series rings with the Houston Astros. And this series is at Minute Maid Park over the weekend. So tonight's game is at 8:10 Eastern Time. Game 2 is tomorrow night at 7:15 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup for Saturday will be left-hander Tyler Anderson for the LA Angels and right-hander JP France for Houston. And then look into Sunday's series finale, which is at 2:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, the pitching matchup for Sunday will be Chase Silseth, right-hander for the Angels, and Jose Urquidy, right-hander for the Astros. All right. The next series up is the Milwaukee Brewers at the Chicago White Sox. Tonight at 8:10 p.m. It's at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. It's game 1 of this 3-game series. Corbin Burns, right-hander, is the starter for the Brewers. Michael Kopech, right-hander, is the starter for the White Sox. Again, that game is at 8:10, and all 3 games will be played at Guaranteed Rate Field. Moving ahead to Saturday at 7:15 Eastern Time, it will be right-hander versus right-hander once again as Brandon Woodruff of Milwaukee faces off with Jesse Schultens for the Chicago White Sox. And in the series finale on Sunday, which will be played at 2:10 Eastern Time, you've got right-hander Freddie Peralta for the Brewers and right-hander Dylan Cease for the Southsiders. And that's the Brewers White Sox series. Next up, it's the San Diego Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks from Chase Field. Game 1 is tonight at 9:40 Eastern Time, and the pitching matchup will be left-hander Blake Snell for San Diego versus right-hander Ryan Nelson for Arizona. Again, that game is at 6:40 Eastern Time. 2 nights. All right, game 2 of the series is at 8:10 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup is left-hander Rich Hill for San Diego and right-hander Zach Gallen for Arizona. As the Diamondbacks are coming into this series with an 8-game losing streak, and the Padres with a 4-game losing streak. And in the series finale on Sunday at 4:10 Eastern Time, you've got Seth Lugo, right-hander for the Padres, and Brandon Pfaadt for the Diamondbacks, also a right-hander. Okay, we got 3 more series to look at. The next one is going to be the Colorado Rockies at the Los Angeles Dodgers. And before I look at tonight's pitching matchup, I think this series is already underway because yes, this series is already underway. So tonight is game 2 of 4 between these NL West rivals. All right, so the pitching matchup tonight is left-hander Austin Gomber for Colorado versus right-hander Lance Lynn of the Dodgers, previously of the Chicago White Sox. And game 1 is at 10:10 Eastern Time tonight from Dodger Stadium. Game 2 tomorrow night is an hour early at 9:10 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup will be right-hander Philip Lambert for Colorado and right-hander Tony Gonsolin for LA. And that's the 3rd game of the series. The 4th and final game of the series is on Sunday at 4:10 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup will be right-hander Chris Flexen for Colorado and left-hander Julio Urias for the Dodgers. All right, the next series, you got the Baltimore Orioles at the Seattle Mariners from T-Mobile Park. All right, so game 1 is tonight at 10:10 Eastern Time. And the pitching matchup tonight is a pair of right-handed pitchers. It's Kyle Gibson for Baltimore and Luis Castillo for Seattle. Jumping ahead to game 2 on Saturday, which will be Saturday's final game at 9:40 Eastern. It will be left-hander Cole Irvin for Baltimore and right-hander George Kirby for the Mariners. And that game again is tomorrow night at 9:40 Eastern Time. In the series finale on Sunday at 4:10 Eastern Time, the pitching matchup will be Kyle Bradish, right-hander for the Orioles, and Bryce Miller, right-hander for Seattle. And then the final series we'll be taking a look at is the Texas Rangers and the San Francisco Giants. Remember, these two teams met back in the 2010 World Series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was the 2010 World Series. Game 1 tonight at 10:15 Eastern Time is John Gray for Texas, right-hander, and left-hander Scott Alexander for San Francisco. And again, that game is at 10:15. And the entire series will be played at Oracle Park. In game 2 tomorrow night at 9:05 Eastern Time, your pitching matchup will be left-hander Andrew Heaney for Texas and right-hander Alex Cobb for San Francisco. And the final game of the series will be Sunday at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Dane Dunning will start for Texas. He's a right-hander, as is his opponent, San Francisco's Logan Webb. All right, so that is a look at the updated Major League Baseball standings and playoff races through Thursday's action. We recapped every game from earlier this week from Monday through Thursday, and we previewed all the series taking place this weekend. All right, our next MLB standings chat and playoff race update is on Monday, so join me for that. Oh, and speaking of Monday, for all you college football fans out there, the Associated Press Top 25 College Football preseason poll will be released then, so make sure you join me for that as well. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the baseball action tonight and this weekend. Peace out.